Friday Night Lights means it's time for the final score. Your home for hard hits, big plays, and the Basin's #1 football show. The final score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Well, welcome into another exciting night in West Texas, if I don't say so. Ben Peck, Aaron Reynolds, week 4 of the final score. I think that has a nice ring to it. I said it a little bit earlier. But we have so much action, we kind of even had to bump the show up a little bit. Cause
yeah.
Let's just say, no spoiler alert, but we got some drums, as the kids like to say.
Week 4, look at us.
I mean, here we go. Mid-season form.
Yeah. Ben mentioning, we have a lot of nice matchups across the Basin today, and we are off to an exciting start already. Still, plenty of time for everybody to improve by the start of district, as it is, once again, only week 4.
Yeah, it is only week 4. District coming up sooner than you would think, maybe, for some of these schools,
yeah.
But it is always an interesting time. I think we're right in the phase where you get a little bit of a feel for these teams, but like you said, hold the phone. Easy there, Tiger. Still a little bit too early. Sample size large enough to get some observations, but you don't want to jump to any conclusions. But as we look to our game of the week, we had 2 teams. They were doing really well. Forsan, they were 1-2. 2 losses to some very good opponents. Coahoma, a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. They lost on a heartbreaker earlier this year, and then they lost to the #2 team, or the #3 team in 2A Division I. Both of these teams heading in the right direction, heading into our game of the week.
What happened?
And I was given the context for Forsan playing better lately. You see, McCamey, they had to start the season a week late, but they've been doing well from the jump. 2-0 for the Badgers. And this is an exciting matchup on paper. It turned out to be an even better one on the field. Forsan traveling down to Badger Stadium to take on McCamey. Coach Woodard, maybe he heard us talking about questioning how McCamey would hold up with that size. Well, how about the defensive tackle punching it in the first quarter? Jason Pagan, first score of the game, but Forsan responding almost immediately, almost intercepted. Caden Morgan, though, gets Forsan in field goal range. That made it 6-3. Badgers a 6-3 lead over the Buffs. But then the next quarter, interception. Ivan Rubio picked off by the defender, Colton Wallace. And then McCamey, resilient as well. They forced a 3-and-out. Caden Johnson, he was formerly Built for Tough Player of the Week a couple weeks ago. Superman right there. Forsan, they were doing defense. They get the ball back, and their first play from scrimmage after that, we're not playing baseball, but this is, as they call that, home run ability, Aaron. Chris Mendez, 60 yards to the house. I believe he teamed up to be our athlete of the week at one point last year. But here come the Badgers, down 9-6. Ivan Rubio rolling right. Nano Rodriguez, see ya. Badgers go back in front. They're up 12-9 at the half, or at the moment, and then the ball, after a blocked punt, they get the ball back. Offsides, they call it 4 verts in the video game. I guess this is 5 verts because they had 5 receivers. Another touchdown right here, and Braden Fuentes got the score. This game went to overtime.
Yeah.
And we're going to see if we can show you as much of this as we can. But McCamey, they had a chance, 4th and goal, field goal toward the end of regulation. They missed the kick, so they go to overtime. Forsan gets the touchdown. They get their extra point. McCamey gets the touchdown. They go for 2, and they come up short, 31-30. So mentioned Forsan, a heartbreaking loss to Coahoma earlier this year. it goes the Buffs' way tonight. Big win for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, and our Game of the Week reporter Jake Eichstead was there, so we're going to catch up with him later on in the show.
Yes. He caught up with head coach Jason Phillips from Forsan. We will hear from him later on.
But like we mentioned earlier on in the show, some exciting matchups. Wink, ranked number 5 now, going into week 4, 3-0, their first road game of the year over in El Dorado. How about some action on this opening kickoff, Ben?
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm down. I'm always down for some kickoff highlights.
Cooper Metter fields it, gets over here to the sideline, El Dorado with the ball first, and turns on the Jets.
See ya.
Not looking great for Wink early on.
They're looking like the Jets with that green out there.
First play of the game, first score of the game. Wink would respond, though. Cannon Gibson takes the quarterback keeper, and taking a look at this final, looks like despite the interesting start to this game, Wildcats would pull out. They improved to 4-0 on the year with a 61-46 win over
this
El
looks
Dorado.
like this could be in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Could be in the fourth quarter, but either way, Wink
looking good.
A comeback. They've done this every week, Aaron. Every week they fall behind, but they find a way to get it done. So we mentioned Forsan McCamey. Sorry, folks. Bear with us. It's been a wild night. The Buffs somehow pulling off that win. Sounds like a dramatic game. You know, I know someone who was at that game, Jake Eichstead, and he caught up, as we mentioned, with Forsan head coach Jason Phillips after that exhilarating win.
Ben, Aaron, welcome to Badger Stadium tonight. This was a heck of a football game, an overtime finish. I got Forsan's coach Phillips. Coach, what are your thoughts?
Oh, just as excited as we can be. Played a great football team tonight. McCamey's an unbelievable team. They're going to win a lot of football games. They have some great athletes, well coached, and this is a tough place to play when you come over here. So we're blessed to come out with a victory. I'm proud of our kids. They played their tails off tonight.
Coach, you got some bruisers up front. Talk about your offensive philosophy and defensive philosophy. How you guys wore the Badgers down tonight.
Yeah, we want to run the football. We're a run first team, and we get in a lot of spread formations, but we spread it out to run. And our offensive line, we have a lot of experience back from last year, offensively and defensively. So we're blessed to have those guys, and they did a great job tonight.
Now I know you got Reagan County next. Talk about what you're going to take away from tonight into this next game.
We're going to take away a lot because we just played a really good football team, and we were lucky enough to come out with a win. And Reagan County's good. Reagan County's good. They've improved from last year. They throw the ball all over the place. They've got some good athletes. But we'll build on this. We did some things. We made some mistakes tonight, but our guys will respond, and we'll get those things fixed.
Coach Phillips, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Congratulations
thank you.
on a great win tonight. You guys 31-30 overtime finish. Doesn't get any better for West Texas football out here at Badger Stadium. Ben, Aaron, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Jake. And wow, I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot more about this game a little bit later in the week. If you don't know, final score overtime, we really get to go in depth into some of these games and break them down. A digital exclusive show talking about football from all levels, high school, college, NFL, but of course a lot of high school. It is final score overtime, folks. Weekly previews, analysis. We also announce our game of the week there every week. Final score overtime every Wednesday on our website, yourbasin.com.
And still plenty of football left to go. Some royalty in attendance at these games. Several schools with homecoming tonight. Highlights from several of those matchups coming up. The best show in the Basin will be right back.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Welcome back to The Final Score. We'll pick up with some more highlights, starting off with one of the biggest surprises early on this year.
I would say so, and you know what? A pleasant surprise as well. Not, I don't even know how much of a surprise it was, because when we talk about Big Spring, I know we always talk, they've got some athletes, and they put it on in other sports that just, for football, they've made the playoffs, they get playoff wins, so I don't want to overstate it, but the Steers, 2-0 for the first time since 2014, and it really feels like it's been just a long time coming.
Yeah, great start for Big Spring tonight. A different challenge. Big Spring going on the road for the first time this season, actually.
Taking on a very historically, a very, very athletic Brownfield team.
Yeah. Brownfield 0-2, though, to start off this year, where the Steers are 2-0. Here in the first quarter, Big Spring's ball passed to Jose Cantu for the first touchdown of the game. Big Spring off to a nice start, 7-0 Steers. Later on,
I can too.
I like that. I'm not going to boo that one. Orlando Sanchez with the handoff and a leap.
Woo.
Some athleticism from the Steers. Almost halftime now. Big Spring with the ball again, scrambling, but the fumble is forced, and Brownfield's Dion Blackwell scoops it up, and he's gonna score, capitalizing on that defense. Tie it up at the half, 7-7. So close game out in Brownfield, but the Steers managed to hang on, their first road game of the year, and they get the win. Steers improved to 3-0 with a 20-17 win over the Cubs.
How about them Steers?
We love wins over the Cubs, right, Ben?
Listen, it's a sore spot as a Cubs. Man, it hits deep every time. I have to remind myself they're not playing baseball. All right, Fort Stockton and Monahans. These are two teams both looking to go in the right direction. Fort Stockton started the year 1-0, exciting win over Alpine. And then Monahans 0-3, looking to get in the win column. But a big-time shout-out before we get to the football. Taryn Griner, your Monahans homecoming queen. She plays basketball, softball, volleyball, big-time athlete herself. So congratulations to her. But this was a defensive game early on. Fort Stockton's Evian Castro gets the tackle for the loss. And finally, midway through the first quarter, we get some offense. Jet sweep handoff to Jamarcus Pickens. Sticks his foot in the ground, and there he goes. Monahans up 7-0 just before, about midway through the first quarter, and then just before the end of the first quarter, some defense. This was after an interception. Leonard Davis with the return, and hey, easy there. We're coming right into your kitchen. But he sets the Lobos up in good position. This time, Von Heflin, quick swing pass out to Pickens, and Pickens, staying in bounds,
Tiptoeing,
keeping his feet in. 3 touchdowns for him in the first half, picking his way through the defense. Lobos were up 26-9 at the break. And as we check out how this game ended up, Lobos hang on, 39-21. Now, fun fact, Fort Stockton, they came in with some motivation in this game. Monahans, they lost to Sweetwater in that last game of the regular season that ended up essentially knocking Fort Stockton out of the playoffs. So Fort Stockton had a little motivation, but the Lobos, they figured out maybe a year after the Fort Stockton would have liked them to.
Yeah, another team that could maybe use a little bit of motivation is Seminole. This is always a fun matchup. Big rivalry game between Andrews and the Indians.
Decided a district championship a time or two in years past.
Out at Wigwam Stadium. I love it. I just love the name of that field. We're going to start in the middle of the first here. Andrews up by a touchdown. Marquise Lawrence going the length of the field for a touchdown from E.J. Lopez.
Nicely done.
There we go, Andrews.
He's got some, we talked about jets. He's got some jets.
Oh, yeah. Then later on, E.J. Lopez getting physical. He's going to hang on to the ball and barrel his way in for a touchdown.
Nice
Another score for Andrews. They're up 27-7 at that point. And the Mustangs would keep up the momentum. Packed stand over there in Seminole. Mustangs with the ball once again. This time Marquise Lawrence. It's going to be another touchdown for him.
That's all he does.
You know, we hear his name a lot when we're talking about Andrews.
I would say so.
Taking a look at this final. Andrews get back in the win column after last week's loss to Greenwood, 54-13 over their rival just up the road, Seminole.
All right, and now we'll go to Dawson County. Lamesa, they started off the year 0-3. They had a tough year last year, but here you go, the Golden Tours at home over Amarillo River Road, picking up their first win of the season, 32-29. Shout out to the Golden Tours.
Yeah, this is their first win of the season, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
And then also moving on in a low-scoring affair.
Oh, man.
Not joking, I did not see this score before the show.
My
Fighting Bucks. I mean, it's a win. Get a win 7-0 over Sonora.
Hey,
a win and a shutout.
You'll take
a look at
how you can get them, right, Aaron? Well, there we go. Another team that they won their first game by a shutout, Crane hosting Kermit. And this was homecoming for Crane as well. They were walking out with the championship bells. Just a heavyweight fight. I don't know. We'll see. Crane, they don't mess around out there. But Kermit, quarterback, Jeremiah Salazar, is going to get it going early to Joel Garcia, and the one-handed grab, my goodness, that sets up this play to Zeke Conley for the score. The 2-point conversion would be good, make it 8-0 Kermit. They're a bigger school, but how about the Yellow Jackets? Crane gets the ball back, and Jackson Willis, he's another kid that we say his name a lot when we talk about their school. He finds Trevor Owens to the house, touchdown. Crane's right back in it, and then Willis, another strike to one of his favorite targets and fellow junior. This team, folks, they're going to be a problem for a few years, if I had to say. Donnie Bishop on the receiving end.
Phew!
Fast up. Well, that was impressive, staying up on his feet.
Yeah.
And then Willis, if you didn't know, he is a quarterback, so usually they throw it, but this is the B button, and he can run it too. Goes into the end zone, and Crane, after falling behind early, they come back to win 40-30. An impressive showing, I'd say, by Kermit as well. High-scoring game down there at El Ave Stadium.
And you know, we were talking about teams that have had a great start. Reagan County definitely one of them.
Absolutely. 2 straight wins for them after going 13 without a 13-game losing.
After a first loss in week 1, they've won their last 2 games, so we're going to take it out to Big Lake, Texas for this matchup. Owls with an early 8-0 lead, still in the first quarter. TLCA punting here, and it looks like it might be rough. That ball's bouncing around a little bit, but nope. Christian Galindo going to take it and takes it on a nice little run there. Breaks some tackles, manages to stay up for a few more yards. Nice gain for the Owls. And then on this next play, quarterback Jacob Gallego going to play keeper, and it looks like he's going to score, but then he loses the ball at the 5-yard line. But luckily, his teammate Christian Turner jumps on it in the end zone.
Well, there you go.
Touchdown Owls. So
That's
they
teamwork.
go up 14-0 after a missed extra point. Later on in the first, Gallego makes a quick pass to Isaac Perez. Reagan County going to improve to 20-0. The Owls would go for 2, but they wouldn't get it. 34-0, Reagan County at the half. They end up winning this game big. A shutout victory over San Angelo TLCA, 61-0. Owls improved to 3-1 to start off the year.
All right, now let's check out Coahoma and Colorado City. Mentioned Coahoma, they had the exciting win over Forest to start off the year, then a big win over Miles, and another big win for them as well on the road, just down the road in Colorado City. Shutout 34-0 over the Wolves.
And Stanton Buffaloes on the road playing the Sundown Roughnecks. What a mascot. Buffs are going to end up falling on the road 26-34, our final out in Sundown.
That is a mascot after your own heart down here in the Basin. All right, now this is a big-time 6-man matchup as we go back to 1A. Borden County, number 2 in Division I, but they're 2-1. They slipped up to number 1 Westbrook earlier in the year. Number 5 Sterling City, they're undefeated at home, so we'll see if they could keep it going. Borden County, though, coming off that big win over Rankin. So don't overlook the Coyotes. First quarter, first possession of the game for the Coyotes. Kai Edwards get the pitch, and there he goes. Around the court. You know, it's just so much easier when you can get around the court and you're just faster than everybody else. Gets a touchdown, makes it 8-0. Next, Eagles possession. In striking distance, cross middle to Damian Calderon. They tried the extra point. It was blocked, so it's 8-6. Coyotes still in front. Later on, after stopping the Coyotes offense, Niddle takes the pitch. Good block from Hudson Cox, and he is off.
Yeah, he's another fast guy.
he looked pretty fast right there. Sterling City goes up 12-8, and now we'll take a look at how this game turned out. Oh my goodness! We didn't know what was going to happen if you couldn't tell. 62-58. As after the Coyotes defeated Rankin, I believe that score was 40-34. Another close game for them this week. 62-58, coming up just short, but it's still early. There's going to be a ton of madness in 6-man.
Yeah, so like Ben just mentioned, Rankin losing to Borden County last week. Sorry, we haven't seen any of these scores yet either. 98 to this is a 6-man score if I've ever seen one.
Yes.
98-97. On the plus side, Rankin gets the win and gets back in the win column.
Yeah, nice work for them. And you know, another really good team this year, Buena Vista. I believe now 3-1 with this result, 48-42 over Sierra Blanca. The Longhorns, you know, they only had, I think, 8 players last year, 9 players last year. They've got a much bigger program this year, moving up to Division I and getting results. Shout out to the Longhorns.
Yeah. And another solid team out here in the Basin, Balmorhea taking on Marfa. Not a great game for the Shorthorns.
This one, I think we had all that adrenaline. We could use kind of a comfortable 6-man victory.
Yeah. But a shutout for the Bears, so a good win for Balmorhea, 52-0 over Marfa.
And not too shameful, of course, for Marfa. Balmorhea, #1 in Division 2. All right, Garden City and Eden. I've loved this matchup all week. It was just the battle of the gardens, if you will. Let's check out how this one went down at Bearcat Stadium. Hunter Rogers and the Eden Bulldogs visiting the Bearcats, and Rogers would get involved right off the bat. Throws a quick pass to Dylan Odom, makes a move, and the Bulldogs on the board first. 6-0 Eden in that first quarter, but the Bearcats get the ball, and Logan Seidenberger to Mason Walker, that's a name, ties it up for 6, and then after a turnover on downs, I'll have another Seidenberger handoff this time to Sebastian Balcazar, and Garden City gets into the end zone. Cats go up 12-6 in the first, and they would go on to win 77-54. So the Bearcats, they started the season a little slow, but moving in the right direction as well. And now, Grady with a big win over Bronte. 50-19. The Wildcats get the win there, and they're moving in the right direction.
And then Ben's favorite team.
I mean, well, it's got to be one of your favorite names. If it's not, what are you doing?
Klondike moving up to #7 and getting a big win at home against Meadow, 46-0. Shutout win for the Cougars.
What would you do? All right, Sands taking on Whit Harrell and the Panthers. A big win over the Mustangs, 56-6. Sands falls, I believe, now to 2-2 on the season, but we'll go to another Sands school.
Sanderson, very close. On the road with Van Horn, who just moved down to 6-man this year. Eagles get a win over the Eagles.
I was going to say, well, Eagles did get the win in this one.
Yes, 40-20 though. Van Horn gets the win over Sanderson.
And Van Horn, they were a good 11-man team last year. They got a lot of people coming back too. All right, Grand Falls Royalty, they start off the year 2-0. They suffer their second straight setback to Erie County. Erie County, again, playing 6-man for the second time since 1975. They started last year once again. They're now 4-0 in the season. Cowboys 2-2 after that 52-6 defeat. All right, before we go, we want to give a shout out to our athlete of the week, Pecos running back. They're not playing this week, so we had to find a way to mention him. Ricardo Serrano, he's a baller, and he was big time last week. I don't know, Aaron, if you know some jargon we use in the industry. We call those kids big time ballers.
Big time ballers. I will probably never use that term, but I'm gonna let Ben take care of it.
I use it maybe a little too loosely, but 25 carries, 290 yards. Aaron, I don't know if I've run 290 yards in my life. 5 touchdowns and a big win over Kermit last week. The team, by the way, 604 yards. Abel Velasquez had a big game as well.
Worth mentioning, all of those touchdowns scored in the second half.
Yeah, my goodness.
Single game record for the Eagles there.
Shout out Mr. Serrano.
Now, we've seen a lot of touchdowns tonight, and that means lots of fight songs being blared throughout the basin. Coming up, we'll hear from one of those in our Band of the Week.
But we've also seen a ton of great plays as well. But which one's going to take home the top honor? We'll tell you. Play of the Week. That's coming up next.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
And we're back on the best show in the basin. Always exciting, Aaron, to go to the games, see the touchdown, but then, I don't know about you, my juices get flowing in the aftermath. No one helps with the celebration more than the music in the stand.
Yeah, it's true. They do provide for the atmosphere. Now it's time to hear from our Band of the Week tonight, and it's going to be the Monahans Big Green Band.
Touchdown Lobos. That's my favorite part. You know, they're so courteous to be a little quiet for the kicker, make sure they can do that extra point nice and flawless. But
you know, I really like their
little get-ups.
Yeah.
No, I think they're pretty snazzy.
Kind of look like Luigi.
I get a little. I get that vibe. But bravo, wonderful performance as always. The Big Green Band from Monahans. But we also had some big-time plays.
Oh yeah, that's right. Every week we see so many crazy plays. I feel like at every game that we go to.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot of contenders this week. We don't know this until we figure out with all you guys.
Yeah, like most of the scores we see, we don't know the play of the week.
Yeah,
either.
so we'll figure it out. Let's check out what our final score play of the week is. I suspected this might come into play. Jeremiah Salazar, Kermit to Joel Garcia, one-handed grab. Take a look. Ooh! Oh my goodness!
Ooh, I like the bringing it back.
Reverse, yeah, nicely done. And a big shout out to our one of our digital producers, Dylan Jimenez, for that edit job. But Kermit, that led to the touchdown. They took a lead over Crane. They come up short 40-30, but they do take home the play of the week, and deservingly so. Well, we do have one last commercial break coming up, but when we come back, we bring you our final thoughts, including a crazy, crazy week, a crazy game of the week down in McCain.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
And before we move along with our show, we did want to just tie a bow on this. We showed the score earlier. We showed it in the fourth quarter. Wink, 61-46 over El Dorado. The Wildcats did, in fact, come back to win over the Eagles. So the Wink Wildcats now 4-0 on the year. Big time shout out to Coach Gibson and those boys. They find a way every week, Aaron.
Their first game on the road, too, right?
I believe so. So congratulations to them. 4-0 for the first time in quite a while as well. Well, you know, we prepare for this show, believe it or not, every week. We like to think we have a nice, smooth plan of how things will go, but high school football, I think it's fair to say everything involved with it. Expect the unexpected. You have no idea. Any given Friday.
Yeah, you really got to buckle up to see if that final score desk will be at the stadium at our game of the week, but it always delivers.
Yeah, if you see that desk there, you better, you do not leave the stadium early, because it's going to be a wild game.
It's going to be crazy.
It was not an exception tonight. Forsan McCamey going down to the wire. Forsan stopping a 2-point conversion for the win. Jake Ike said, though, he was there for all of it. He'll tell us more about it.
Ben, Aaron, welcome back to Badger Stadium tonight. Again, this was the best football game that I have covered in my short career out here in West Texas. It was back and forth all night. McCamey really had the advantage going into the locker room at halftime, had an 18-9 lead. The only difference, though, they could have had 3 more extra points from their kicker if he made those kicks. That would definitely come back to bite them. However, Forsan, though, not giving an inch on either side of the ball for the rest of the game. Really, the only thing that kept them back was their own mistakes, things like offsides, and then those touchdowns on some of those highlights that you saw were on offside plays and a couple turnovers themselves, but not only just forcing turnovers, they came up clutch when it mattered. They scored with 2 minutes left to go in their game. Their offense was spearheaded by that 3-headed monster in the backfield. I'm going to read their names real quick. That's Chris Mendez, Drackland Henry, and then Nathaniel Hernandez. They got carries all night in every which direction. But the big difference, again, you guys, was the Badgers kicker. He missed every kick that he took tonight, including the one that would have put the game away in regulation, and then they went for 2 in overtime, and they didn't get it. Badgers are going to be a great team going forward. They have some fighters. Forsan, though, taking the win tonight, 2-2, with Reagan County up next week. Ben, Aaron, back to you.
I tell you, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Forsan, Reagan County. I think you got to remember, too, McCamey's still a very young team. So I think both of those teams are pretty well positioned. But we did have a lot of other crazy games tonight. A fantastic night. Aaron, what stood out to you?
Well, speaking of Reagan County, and you guys always pick on me because I pick the games that I go to, it's just so much easier for me to get, my thoughts wrapped around
analysis.
it. Yeah.
Well,
I was there.
I'm not going to be too hard on you this week, but we'll get to that.
Yes, so Reagan County, of course, snapped a 13-game losing streak in week 2. They went on to win last week, and then they did it again this week with a blowout shutout victory over San Angelo TLCA. Owls getting it done early, and I was just surprised by how many offensive assets they have on the field.
Yeah.
Like, they can just do so much, and then I just loved the play where, well, unfortunately, Gallegos fumbled it at the 5-yard line, but his teammate was there. He picked it up. It was still a score. So Reagan County 3-1 so far to start off this season. A nice start for the Owls. Probably the best one they've had in a while, I would imagine.
Yes, I know. Really good to see. And by the way, any thoughts on the new stadium? They kind of...
Oh, it looks so nice.
They renovated it a little bit. I know they're really excited about
new
the
facilities. They've got the blue turf, which is great. But yeah, it looks really nice. Ben, what about you? What matchup stuck out for you?
Well, listen, this might not be the game that's going to catch all the headlines. It's, the first win of the season for Monahans, 1-3. Fort Stockton falls to 1-3. But I just got to give Monahans and Coach Dowd and that staff so much credit for sticking with it. To get off to an 0-3 start, they did play some tough opponents. Fredericksburg, a solid team from Central Texas, and then Andrews, and then another tough loss as well to Big Spring, who's obviously been playing pretty well. They get it done. They get the win. They looked really dynamic out there, giving Fort Stockton a solid team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of problems. Before we go, we do want to let you know we actually have even more that we can talk about during the week, and we have our show Final Score Overtime. Digital exclusive. Check for it on our website, yourbasin.com. And the biggest plug I think I could give for it, if you want to find out the game of the week before anyone else, check out Final Score Overtime Wednesdays on yourbasin.com. Fridays on Big 2, the Final Score 10:30. We'll see you next week. For Aaron Reynolds, I'm Ben Peck.